Dear audience, thank you for joining us from around the world. This event had especially high popularity, and we know it's because of your passion for food banks and to support food banks, but also to understand the crucial role that women have in food banks and to understand what our female leaders in food banking are doing. Earlier this month, American economic historian and labor economist Claudia Dale Golden was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics for having advanced our understanding of the women's labor market. For having advanced our understanding of women's labor market outcomes, as well as the root causes of the gender pay gap. She was the third woman to win the award and the first woman to win the award solo. From her paper titled A Grand Gender Convergence, its last chapter published in the American Economic Review, I just want to open with an excerpt. But it must involve changes in the labor market, especially how jobs are structured and remunerated to enhance temporal flexibility. The gender gap in pay would be considerably reduced and might be vanished altogether if firms did not have an incentive to disproportionately reward individuals who labored long hours and worked particular hours. Such change has taken off in various sectors such as technology, science, and health, but is less apparent in the corporate, financial, and legal worlds, end quote. Today, we'll hear if this has changed in food banking in roles that we traditionally see as gender normative, like warehouse manager. Today, we'll hear from food bankers in Accra, Ghana, Nairobi, Kenya, and Lagos, Nigeria, around their role as females in the food bank workforce, challenges they face, opportunities they've engaged with the Global FoodBanking Network and at their food bank. And we'll get started with our introductions. Barbara Ofori-Darko is a passionate professional with an LLB degree and a master's in procurement and supply chain management. She's currently the fundraising officer at Food for All Africa in Ghana, actively participated in the Tertiary Model United Nations program focusing on SDGs dedicated to addressing global challenges related to poverty eradication, hunger, and food security. Barbara leverages her legal and procurement expertise to support Food for All Africa in its mission to combat hunger in Ghana. Next, we have Joy Kanana, a qualified nutrition professional with a strong passion for improving people's lives through better nutrition. With a bachelor's degree in nutrition and a master's degree in the same field, she possesses a deep understanding of the crucial role food plays in maintaining overall well-being. Kanana works with Food Banking Kenya to address food insecurity, malnutrition in the region, as well as expanding strategic initiatives aimed at food access, advocating for balanced diets, and educating communities on the importance of healthy eating habits. Funmi Oyegoke is a communication, agriculture, and green care enthusiast. She works in the capacity of communications and family farming officer for the Lagos Food Bank Initiative. She is a graduate with a bachelor's of agriculture in horticulture. Funmi is passionate about women empowerment and social impact and enjoys community service. She and her team were recently recognized as one of Ban Ki-moon's Center for Global Citizens 30 Under 30 individuals elevating women in agriculture. She also foresees a future where agriculture is given a priority it duly deserves, especially in Nigeria. Thank you. So I welcome the speakers to join us. Thank you, ladies. And we'll dive right in. Barbara, maybe I'll ask you a question first. What activities, opportunities, or projects have you worked on with the Global Food Banking Network that have been meaningful to your growth as a food banker and a professional?
Thank you so much, Gabi, and for the opportunity to share my experience as a female young food banker in Ghana. So once upon a time, I was just an eager young lady looking to make a meaningful impact in the world. I was fortunate to stumbled upon an opportunity to work with Food for All Africa as a fundraising officer. And I was just inspired by the commitment to alleviating hunger. I just knew that I wanted to contribute in a very significant way. Little did I know that this experience would actually shape my professional growth in ways that I could never have imagined. So as a member of the Global FoodBanking Network, we enjoy the privilege of shared learning, which includes valuable opportunities to gain insights from food banks across the world. I vividly recall in June this year, where GFN facilitated a fellowship exchange program between Food for All Africa and Food Forward SA, that is Food Forward South Africa. This initiative provided us with a unique chance to delve into the operations of Food Forward South Africa to discover ways to enhance our own processes here in Ghana, and also to witness how they effectively tackle challenges that they encounter as a food bank. This experience, I would say, offered me the opportunity to gain understanding of how food banks operate, and then it offered me a deep understanding to have a clear knowledge of how we are able to tackle issues. And this, I'll say, is invaluable when it comes to my role as a fundraising officer. It has also helped me to grow as a communicator and to speak more confidently about Food for All Africa and what we do, when I approach potential donors. Also, this program, I would say, exposed me to a variety of fundraising strategies and approaches that have proven to be successful. These processes I can adapt to apply to my fundraising strategies, and also to expand our fundraising toolkit here in Food for All Africa. Also, we got the chance to collaborate with other food banks within GFN. That has allowed me to learn from my peers. We are able to share experiences, to share ideas, and to collectively improve on grant writing techniques. I would say that also I've had a privilege to work with GFN on some specific projects, for example, the agricultural food loss recovery project, as well as the lunchbox school feeding initiative, just to mention a few. And this has also helped me to grow my ability when it comes to writing grants and being compelled to write good narratives, which is very essential in securing grants to support the food bank. So I'll say that being part of GFN has not just improved my grant writing skills, but has also put me in a position to advocate more when it comes to global food banking. And I would say that this has been an experience that has been so invaluable to me. It also allows me to leverage on my position as a female food banker to network with influential figures to address food insecurity. Before I conclude, I would just like to highlight the importance of female leaders when it comes to food banking. I would say that embracing my position as a fundraising officer, I have recognized the importance of female representation positions in our food banks. The gender of a fundraising officer or any other role that not necessarily, or it's not an important factor to determine the ability of the officer, but rather what is more important, or what we should look at, is the expertise, the qualifications that a person has, and the commitment to the mission of the food bank. Thank you.
Well said, Barbara. Thank you. And just knowing your team, working as the relationship manager with your food banks, I know that your teams are always looking for equity and helping boost each other up. So that's really wonderful to hear from you. Kanana, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you consider gender an important factor in your role as a food banker? If so, why?
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to be able to be here, and thank you for this chance, and also thank you for the people who've organized this forum. I would say a strong yes, that gender does play a unique significance in our role as food bankers. We have the gender awareness and empowerment that comes with a person being as being in food banking. In the team of Food Banking Kenya, I was able to join the team as a volunteer. Previously, I was working as a clinical nutritionist, and I was wondering, you see all the people coming with malnutrition in the hospital, but then they go back to the community. You're not able to address specifically what is happening back there. And being able to join Food Banking Kenya, I have been able to go back to the homes of these people, where they come from, see the conditions they live in, and be able to follow up and see really where does the problem come from, and be able to address other issues that contribute to the malnutrition and the illnesses that come from it. Being a woman in food banking, here in Kenya, we agree that more women in food banking will increase representation and advocacy for gender equality. When there are more women food bankers, there's going to be more strong advocates for gender equality. Being women, we are the nurturers. There is that is being associated with feminine energy and everything. So there are those attributes that we might say that might come with being a woman. So if we're able to be stronger in our positions as women food bankers, if we are able to advocate for gender equality and to be able to address other issues that also affect other women in different positions. And also being a women food banker, when you visit the vulnerable people, we are able to see that there are more women who are vulnerable, more of our beneficiaries. The higher percentage of our beneficiaries are women, be it the mothers or even in the instance of the children that we are able to serve through the different programs that we have. So understanding the gendered food insecurity, if we talk about some of our communities, especially in Kenya, we have the pastoralist community, examples are the Pokot or the Maasai, where we might find that they're not able to have formal living. The pastoralists, they move from one place to another. These children may not be able to go to school. They're not able to receive formal education. We have in the cultures such cultures, we have the early marriages, girls being married off early. We have the early pregnancies. And you see, if it is a child being married off, this person is already food insecure and they have different needs as a teenager. The body needs different, added nutrients even as a girl. And then if it is a child having a child, then we are also increasing, insecurity and malnutrition even in these children. So being a woman food banker, when you're able to meet these children, maybe in the rescue centers that you're able to support in those areas, there's that connection that comes from you being a female food banker and being able to connect with the beneficiary who is also a female. So understanding the gendered food insecurity that might also come for women due to their different societal roles and responsibilities, and this exposes them to face some unique challenges. Also, when we find the women who are in need, we're able to empower other women, and this is not only in matters food. After we're able to provide for them and improve their food security, there are other issues so that we can ensure that we are promoting sustainability. If the women in the community are empowered, that means the family unit is going to be stronger and more empowered. Other things that come up as the cultural sensitivity, where we find that women are more attuned to gender dynamics, and these can help foster trust in the community with the women, between the women food bankers and the women, the vulnerable in the community. That being said, in conclusion, I do agree with Barbara that women leaders, being a woman and a young female food banker and being in leadership, if more women are empowered in leadership, it is going to translate into the community and be able to grow the community at large. Yes, thank you.
Solid answer. Thanks, Kanana. I appreciate those thoughts. And Funmi, over to you on how does the role women play in your society affect your professional life?
Okay, thank you, Gabby, for the question and also, the opportunity to be able to speak on this platform. I would say the role of women in our society is significant and, it's something that continues to evolve. Also as a Nigerian woman, working in the food banking sector, which is generally a new concept in this part of the continent. I've had first-hand experience of seeing the contributions of women in society, and of course, it has positively impacted my professional life. Like Kanana said, women are known to be nurturers and also caregivers. And so, like in most traditional homes here in the country, you have them as like the essential, backbones that provide support for the family. And so, also in the Lagos Food Bank, women are like at the core of our operations. And, because a large percentage of them are either the sole caregivers or they're the ones bringing, majority of the funding to their respective homes. And so from my interactions with these women, I get to see, their diligence, their resilience, they're very determined to want the best for themselves and their families and to be able to move them from, being at a vulnerable state to, a good lifestyle. And so this drive just, it keeps me on my toes. It knowing fully well that my job as a food banker and is tied to ensuring that they get to live a better life. It puts me on a path for, continuous growth. I keep searching for new ways to improve, not just our interventions, but, being able to communicate what our beneficiaries need, so, we could improve the interventions, improve the ways of their lifestyle. It keeps me on my toes, like I said earlier, and then it just encourages me to put in the extra effort to serve them in the best way that they need. So I think, yes, they have played a very significant role in my professional life. Thank you.
Thanks, Funmi. So we've all spoken on the role of women in society and our roles as it pertains to the food bank. I'd like to shift over to the question of age, right? We were talking about young leaders, and we see you all as the next generation of executive directors, CFOs, and everything else in the C-suite at your food banks. In what ways do you believe your age affects your professional experience? Any takers?
Okay, so I think I would speak on that. So in terms of the age, I've had, times where we would go into the community and there's a bit of hesitation because they're like, who is this young person? But then, especially because as a young farmer, most people have attributed this role to a certain group, a certain age. But as time goes on, they're encouraged usually to, okay, this person is young, but she's doing the work. So they're usually very encouraged to want to do, what would make, their lives better. An example would be going into the community once, I and my colleagues, two other ladies that are quite young, and everyone came out of the community and they're like, okay, so who are these people? What are they trying to do? And then when we got down to, bringing out the agricultural produce that we needed to set up our beneficiaries with, they could see that, okay, it's not about the age, it's about, their experience and how well they're able to do their job. And so I think it gives a sense of encouragement to the people we interact with. I think that's the major part of, having being young and, having a certain type of work or experience.
Thanks, Funmi. Another question for the group. I know we've talked about your positions, but Maybe what the audience doesn't realize is that most of you have a slash or a hyphen in your title because you are wearing multiple hats. And this is the life of a food banker, but also I think something particularly specific to being a person. Maybe it's part of the gender role to wear multiple hats, to manage things all at the same time. Do you think this helps or hinders your ability to do your job, the wearing multiple hats?
Okay, I think I would take that. Okay. So I believe that usually when you are able to familiarize yourself with all the other aspects of your job, you are able to understand more. And so if you are doing your particular role assigned to you, you are able to do it in a way that would be more impactful because you do understand everything that it involves to actually achieve the mission you are working for. So I believe that having multiple hats is the best way to go once you can handle it.
Yeah, and maybe to add late sorry, Gabby, as Funmi had mentioned, as even being in that position, even as being the food banks in Africa, even being young food banks, as we grow, being able to, if you're given those different titles, in those different positions, you're able to prove yourself in a way, to be able to experience the different things that come under the different titles, and it helps you multitask and also helps you grow professionally. Yes.
Thanks, Kanana. And I just have to recognize all of the parents in food banking. I think moms really becoming a mom made me realize that moms are really, really special. But all of the parents, and especially parents that are out in the field doing agricultural recovery programs for days at a time, or visiting vulnerable populations, indigenous populations out many hundreds of kilometers away from home, I think it is another hat to put on, and another way that we are stretching ourselves, and you guys are stretching yourselves, and we really commend that. The next question asks, can you give us some detail about the size of the teams you work on? How many women are on your teams? Maybe somebody has some highlights on this.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. I would say, I think in my team, we are about 50-50. That is maybe many the people maybe were in the office, but if we add onto, if we go to the sector of our volunteers, most of our volunteers, we see them as, the opposite gender. More volunteers are the males. If we go to our small scale farmers, we find that it might come close, but we have more of male volunteers that come in there, as maybe women are tied down by the society roles and responsibilities that they need to do, such that they might not be able to volunteer that time as much as the men in some instances. Yes.
Okay, for us here at the food bank, at the Lagos Food Bank, I think when I started out with the food bank, we're more ladies. I think we had like a 90% number of women, joining us. And so as time has gone on, there's a bit of a balance. If we speak about our volunteers, I would say we do have a lot more women who have joined to, go further with us. So I think now it's a bit balanced, but when I first started out, I could see a whole lot of more women joining in the food bank.
Thanks, Funmi. I think, okay, we got you back. That'll be an interesting question to follow up with your executive director, and if there is any change in how HR was looking at the diversity of the group, or maybe, I mean, there's so many different variations of this, but it actually ties into another question I have for everyone, right? About the presence of women at the food bank and also around you. So have more women been added at management levels at the food bank, on the board of directors? And then are there more women in your stakeholders at the companies that you work with, the partners that you see? Kanana, maybe I can hand it to you for a moment.
Yeah, I think in our position, we do, as I've said, I don't know if it is by chance, if it just happened or it was intentional, but we do have almost an equal representation. Maybe it's 51-49%, but we do have quite the presence of women in the decision-making positions, and more so even as in the young people. If we also look at the team, we do have quite the number of young people as much as the elder ones. And I think this helps balance, because there are those roles that are better performed by younger people, and others that people who have gone ahead and they're more experienced and they're able to guide us in our day-to-day activities. And this helps achieve the mission and the vision of the food bank. Yes.
Great. Thanks. Barbara, you didn't miss a beat, and I'm gonna hand this question over to you. What's your favorite part about your job? But you're still on mute, so we needed one of those. It is a Zoom rule, right?
Sorry about that. Sure. So as a fundraising officer, I am privileged to get to interact more with potential donors as well as our old donors. And it gives you the exposure to meet influential people, which on a normal day you might not have met those people. But because of the job I do and because of my role, I'm able to meet such people. And I feel that as much as they are contributing to my life professionally, personally also, I feel proud of myself to be able to get to that position. And so, yes, that's the favorite part of my job, which I really enjoy doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you should be proud. You're doing a really great job.
Thank you.
I'll hand it over to Funmi. I want to ask the same question. What is your favorite part of your job?
I think I would have to forward maybe two parts, because juggling both communications and family farming. So for the communications aspect, I think being able to creatively write newsletters or campaigns, creating campaigns that just put the Lagos Food Bank out there. Just being able to express myself, but not just that, but like express the mind of the organization in such creative ways. It gives me like a free reign to put the organization as best as I can. So that's one of my favorite part. The second one would be being able to hear like when my colleagues go out to the field and they come back with reports of a beneficiary that we started out with expanding on their farms by themselves, being able to do better and better than what we left them at. I think that just gives me like a sense of accomplishment that yes, we're able to impact the life of one person, and then these beneficiaries go further ahead to speak to members of their communities to do better for themselves. So yes, it does give me a sense of accomplishment.
You should feel very accomplished. The Lagos Food Bank Initiative has only on Instagram over 66,000 followers, and I know that's all because of what you do at the food bank. We really thought you guys were influencers, celebrities. I don't know. When we started working together, we're very, very excited to see anything that pops up on social media. So really great job. Kanana, can I hand the same question over to you?
Yes, Gabby, thank you so much. I believe and maybe anyone who has worked with a food bank would agree with me that food banking is service to humanity. And what other better way to serve people directly and to see the impact that it truly has in our community. One thing about food banking is that it will expose you, as most of us are, our food banks are like the national food banks in our respective countries, and it exposes us to different communities. Where I came from, I had never seen some things, but coming to work with food banking, it has provided me with that exposure, some things to just read in books, like, for example, about the Maasai community, about the Turkana community. Those are people in the arid and semi-arid areas. I come from a relatively, agricultural area, very green, very productive. You're always having fresh food. But then these people you're just reading through school, you're just reading them in books. But then when you come to food banking, it actually exposes you to those people. You're able to meet them and actually see the need that is there in the people. And then when you start working with food banking, when you're working directly with the beneficiaries, being able to see that change, that impact, that child get from a state where they were malnourished and now they are healthy, they are attending schools. You're being told of stories of people who are being able to complete school, who would otherwise not have been able to, do their schooling if they did not have this help, if they were not able to receive food, because that is a basic need. And if they did not have that, they opt, to quit school and go in search of food and other essentials. So one, really being able to see that impact, the travel and exposure of, the people in my area, in my country, also, and the different activities that we're able to participate in, being able to meet our donors, the exposure, when the Global FoodBanking Network connects us, the different countries, when we had the Africa Food Banks were hosted in Food Banking Kenya, it was so great to meet the rest of the team members from the different food banks in Africa, to be able to exchange ideas. I do not think there's a better platform. Yes, this is really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanana. Wonderful. Well, I think we have the energy going for the audience. I think they have some questions they're not sending in the chat. So we invite you to send your questions. We'll do our best to answer them. And we'll keep going with this really great panel. I think another one for the group. Can you go into detail about some of the programs your food banks have to serve schools and underserved populations? How are these programs making a difference in your specific community? Maybe Barbara?
Okay, Gabby. So here at Food for All, we have a number of programs that we do to serve the vulnerable in society. So one of our programs here is the Mother and Infant Nutrition Improvements Program, which is targeted at children between the ages of 0 to 5 years who are severely and moderately malnourished. So for those people, we have a nutritionist and a nurse in-house who take care of these people. They come here on weekly basis, and then we give them supplements to take. We take care of them. We check their weight, their height, to make sure that they meet a specific standard. And then once they hit that target, we graduate them and then onboard onto the program new people. We also have the lunchbox school feeding program, which is targeted at 7 schools in rural areas who are not under the government school feeding program. So every month we supply them with right food products, which are prepared for their school kids to make sure that every kid has a meal. And this is also to help them to stay in school, because a hungry child will not stay in the classroom to learn. We also have the hot meals, which is targeted at 600 people every week. So every week on Wednesday and Fridays, we go out there to serve hot meals to the vulnerable at targeted areas. We also have the emergency relief program, where we serve people who have been hit with disasters unexpectedly. So, for instance, currently in Ghana, there is a spillage at Akosombo where most of the people are submerged. So we are looking at helping people from that area. So these and many other programs we have that we are helping the vulnerable, and I think it's really making a great impact. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that that really talked to your role as a female food banker and the connection or representation advocacy of these populations. A lot of the time we're hearing are women and girls especially, and access to school. It's really tough for kids without a school meal, without a school meal program, but I think especially in a lot of societies for young girl children to continue going to school, to have access and be allowed to move upward. Kanana or Funmi, do you want to add anything on your programs?
Okay, Kanana, you can go first.
Okay, for me. Thank you. So also in food banking in Kenya, same focus is also on the children. In this sector, we work with organized groups, people who've come together to rescue children, the orphaned and the vulnerable children, those who've been abandoned, and they are brought together, and people create homes that they're able to house them, give them shelter and education. So we're able to at least ease their burden by helping provide food so that they're able to provide the daily meals, everyday meal to these children as they house them. So that is the children's home, the people taking people who are affected and rehabilitate them. In the instance of those people being affected by the some cultures, the female genital mutilations or gender-based violence, we have the rescue centers where they are housed. We're able to support those centers. Also, we have the elderly, those who house the elderly, that they've been abandoned also in some instances. So we're able to provide for them food. There are community-based organizations who people come together who have different issues and they register together, and we have community-based organizations that we support, either people who have chronic illnesses, children suffering from stoma. So we're able to provide nutritious meals to them. And as Barbara also has said, we have the outreach missions. We're able to provide food for those who've been affected by calamities, especially in the slums in Kenya. You might find, because they're shanty houses, things like fire may happen, and it might spread fast because the houses are so close together. So many families might be left homeless in just a night. So we're able to provide emergency relief in the arid and semi-arid areas. Especially last year, Kenya experienced a long drought. We were able to support those communities with food to help sustain them. Also, people affected now in Kenya, we're expecting the El Nino. We're hoping it will not be so bad, so that not many people will have to suffer, but we also support people who've been affected by floods and any other calamity that comes up. Yes, beyond that, the school feeding program also supports children from the low-income backgrounds in these slums, the schools that take in children from these slums, because as you can imagine, when they're coming from home, their parents will come from home, go look for work to support them for that day. So when these children come from home, probably they've not received a meal in school. They've not been able to pay to get a meal in school. So we're able to provide to support these schools that are taking children from low-income backgrounds and also in the arid and semi-arid areas, because if there's no food, as I mentioned before, which is the basic need, education is secondary, so they will forgo school and go look for food. And we know if this continues, it affects, even the economy of the country at large in the future. Yes.
Thanks, Kanana, and thanks for setting the context of your beneficiaries. I think We have a question in the chat, and it makes me think back to a conversation we've had in the past about the glass ceiling in the workplace for women, and it kind of ties back to my opening thoughts on the gender gap. Is there a challenge? How does this affect you in the workplace? Have you seen challenges in advancing in the workplace because of your gender? And I'll ask a follow-up after that. And I'll just repeat it. The question is, how does the glass ceiling affect you? Have you seen challenges in advancing in the workplace? Funmi, I think you've been at the food bank a little bit long. Maybe Kanana has been at her food bank around the same time as you, and then Barbara has been around a year or so. So maybe, Funmi, you can talk to this point.
Okay. I think so. In terms of challenges, I think we have more supportive people here. If you have, some certain issue, you could just speak to your colleagues. So I think the food bank has created like a very suitable environment for growth. And so just if you have a problem, you would be able to, meet with a colleague who has probably been here longer, that has probably gone through something similar. Or you could just meet with the founder himself, because he's very open to impacting knowledge. So he has created a very suitable environment where, we could discuss on certain issues. If you have a challenge in your workspace, you're able to talk to him. He's able to either refer you to a document where they've created some sort of like an FAQ, but not really, just to help you develop better. And so yes, I would say the team here is it's very, very conducive for you to grow. Challenges, it's bound to happen, yes, but there is also a way you can move, further from that. You're able to grow from that. You're able to understand where you're from, and then move forward from that. So I think yes, the conducive environment in the food bank makes it a lot better for you to overcome challenges.
Thank you. Another question is, what misconceptions do you see about women in the workplace? Maybe Kanana can help me with this one.
Yeah, I believe generally there is that human bias. Sometimes it is subconscious. If I could draw a riddle out there, maybe go with me, a short one. There's a father and son. They set out on a journey, and unfortunately they meet with an accident. Tragically, the son dies, and the father dies. And when the son is taken to the hospital, the doctor there says, wait, I cannot operate on this patient. Why? Because they're my son. Why do you think is that? Why did the doctor say they would not operate on the patient? Anyone? I don't know what ran through your mind, but it was because the doctor was the mother to the son. But then ideally, most of us that is not what clicks in the end very easily. So as a society, generally, not only in Africa, but generally as it is, there's that bias that comes with certain jobs are maybe meant for men, or some leadership positions are for men, but being women and being in that position, being able to try and prove ourselves, if you're competent, if you're able to move up the ladder, being in those positions of leadership, then you'll be able to impact other women. But in the instance that in our workplaces, at least with there's the teamwork that comes in, and our environments are enabling push us and to support us to do better and be better in our positions. But at the end of the day, your skills and competency are what are going to matter. The environment and the society as it is may not be the most supportive, but then you just do what you're able to do as we hope for, a better tomorrow, a better future for everyone. Yeah.
Kanana, that was amazing. And I think all of us froze with all of that unconscious bias in our head. And this meeting is being recorded, so there's proof. Unfortunately, we didn't shout out the answer. And that's exactly what I think we've talked about. Being in a warehouse as a woman, and looking at the inventory management, or working with your farmers and getting donations onto a truck. How are you going to lift that? And what is you're going to get dirty and all of this and that. So I think it's something that we need to tear down, and really, like you all are saying, it's about expertise, experience, what your skill sets bring to the table, and also having really strong teams of both men and women who empower us and lift us up every day, because there is that unconscious bias, and there are those barriers that are just a part of the society that we all live in. So I want to turn to a question from Madison in the audience, and she asked, what are some of the most successful methods of promoting women through your organizations, or that you've seen implemented by your partners? Does anyone have an example? Barbara, I see you kind of nodding. Maybe you have something.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to what we've all been saying, that it doesn't really matter the gender, but then the expertise that comes with the person. So I believe that once the person has that expertise, that qualification, you just need to allow the person to prove themselves. If a woman has the qualification or the knowledge or the commitment to the food bank's goal, just allow them prove themselves. And it would even surprise us that a woman can do it more than or better than what the man can do. So I just believe that we should just allow women to flow once they have the expertise to do it. And that's the right way to promote women in our food bank. Thank you.
And then our Funmi, do you want to chip in for this one? It's okay if not. We've gotten really great responses from you all. This one is going to be about your audience, right? So we have a question from Muhammad, and he asks, how would you talk about food banking to a group of young girls in a high school to get them to start thinking about food banking as a potential career option? Funmi, you want to try?
Okay. I mean, as a young person myself, I think I would start from a viewpoint of I would not have seen myself as a food banker. Like a couple of years ago, I probably did not really know what the food banking sector was. And so starting off would be it's a service to humanity. It's like a touch of how they say Mother Nature cares for everybody. So I say yes, so that would be my standpoint, telling them if you want to give back to society in, whatever dimension. As a farmer, you probably wouldn't have known that I could be a food banker, but yes, so the viewpoint is you can give back to your society in the little way you can, regardless of how, where you're from, how you're from, whatever experiences, you can put that aside. But when you're in the food bank, you just feel a sense of accomplishment, a pride that, yes, I'm doing something significant. And so it's an encouragement to them that number one, being a female, it doesn't really matter in the food bank. What matters the most is your experience and what you bring to the table. So I think, yes, that's pretty much what I would, tell them.
Yeah, maybe if I could add onto that, the beauty of food banking is we all have volunteer platforms and the different volunteer programs that will provide, where someone can serve in the different places in the food bank. So even encouraging them to come join the volunteer programs that we have. I think for them, it would be unique for them because they would have experience before they learn the job and before they get employed. So engaging even starting to engage with the food banks early, even as they are in school, spreading the word among their age mates, their schoolmates, so that they can all join. It can also help spread, the gospel of food banking to more people. If they're able to start from their homes, it means more people are going to be impacted, and it'll be good for them as they engage more with the food bankers or the team of the team backing food. They are also able to identify the specific position that they may be able to serve in at the food bank.
Great. I have one more question, and this one would be kind of I don't know if a call to action or something that your peers at the food bank could help you with. So the question is, how do the abilities and skill sets and privilege that men and women have complement each other in the fight against hunger and food loss and waste? Is there something in your mind that you're seeing your male peers could do to advocate for women? Is there something that you think they could leverage to help this important fight that you're in, either for you in the workplace or for the women and girls that you're serving? Funmi or Barbara, I think.
Okay. I believe that we can all work hand in hand to achieve the food bank's mission. And so sometimes there could be a targeted group that will listen more to the female, or a targeted group that will listen more to the male. If each of us have a talent, have the ability to influence these people, to buy into the idea, to believe into the idea of ensuring that there is food security. And so if there are such target groups, and then they will listen more to a man, I believe that the men should go ahead and then influence that people, where the woman can also, the woman can go ahead and then influence those people to believe in our mission. And I believe that together we'll be able to achieve the mission of the food bank. Yeah.
Just to add to what Barbara said, I completely agree with her. Like, collaboration is the best form of doing anything. And so, if we're able to target an audience, specific person that would be able to communicate better, I think that would be the way to go. Also, Jeffen has also created a platform where we have different food banks coming together. And so if it's to hear from someone else outside the direct, our direct circle, that also helps. We're able to call out to them, and, they're able to talk from their own standpoint also. So yeah, collaboration between the men, the women, it just works perfectly.
Yeah, I also agree with what my colleagues have said, and the different age groups do matter, especially when we go out to those communities. Some will only listen to an elder gentleman because, culture, in the instance of the children, sometimes when we go to spend time with the children's home, the elderly people might not have the energy to play all day with the children. When we have the different skill set professionally also, it matters. It helps bring all the different ideas together so that you're able to see the different perspectives. And sometimes it's limiting in, how we are physically, biologically, or other needs, such that, the heavy lifting jobs might go to our male counterpart, and, we might not, or the heavy lifting.
I think we're losing Kanana, but she was on an excellent point, and I think we were waiting for her to mention this and keep us back.
Yes.
Sorry, Kanana, I was just summarizing your point that we lost you for a minute, but really, I think your message came across really excellent. Thank you. No worries. Is there any closing thought on your side? I'm going to mention a few things to the audience, but if you want to close the program on your side with anything, Kanana, Barbara, Funmi. No pressure. If not, we can keep going. I think your reflections have been on point, and what we were hoping to host as a conversation, not necessarily steer your opinions or what you've said. I think it's really important for the audience to know that you're in 3 totally different countries, having maybe similar experiences as young female food bankers, and really proud and excited to have you form part of the GFN Africa Accelerator Program, and to see all of the growth that your food banks have had and endured through a pandemic, through different conflicts around the world, cost of living crisis, droughts, and more. And just to give context to the audience, I'm the Associate Director of Programs for the Middle East and Africa, and I really have this amazing opportunity to see the food banks grow, to give that technical assistance and guidance and all of the support that you're giving the Global Food Banking Network. We really appreciate it, and we see the outcomes, and I think we're all feeling it today. It's a great story to tell. Kanana, you wanna? Oh, sorry, you unmuted there. I want to thank everyone for joining us in celebration of World Food Day. A recording of this presentation will be available in a few days on our website. I want to thank the 3 of you for your time, and also your teams for giving an hour of your, and this was more than an hour, a lot more time, but especially a week busy with World Food Day events and delegations visiting your food bank and all. And just one more note for the audience, please consider making a donation to the Global Food Banking Network in honor of World Food Day. Thank you all. See you soon.